Hey, hello and welcome to another episode. You don't have our usual Chris Fain like we had the last hour geared up. He's actually in Atlanta and getting everything set up over there again. But he will be back next week as always. In this week's episode, we are continuing what we've done in the past. We've done some homage to like who has the catch lights, highlight and photographers that we admire a lot. And in this week's episode, we are actually giving an homage to Lindsay Adler, who we all know so well. If you follow us on Instagram, you saw that she had a takeover. And this is basically one of the images that she showed in the takeover. And we looked at that image and thought, well, this is a cool image. Why don't we break that down and help you guys to figure out a little bit on how to do that. Now, of course, this might not be exactly the way Lindsay does it, because this is based upon us looking at the image and trying to figure out what the different elements are and recreating that image. And if you want to see how Lindsay does it the proper way, you should follow the links. There's links in the chat to lindsayadlerphotography.com, where she has a special PDF that you can download. You can buy it and download, and where you have the right way to do it. So in this episode, we will try to be Lindsay-ish, but we will probably not be, or we will not be as great as she is. But go to lindsayphotography.com and you will find the exact data on how she's doing it. She also started another, I think it was just like a couple days ago since it launched. It's the Learn Plus platform, where you get a monthly update on all the different skills that she does. She's such a multifaceted photographer, so it's impossible to kind of pin her down in one hole. She's so many different ways. But the one was this wood look. We looked at it actually in our Instagram last week. We switch over desktop. So this is the image that we saw. Let's see if I can do a picture in picture maybe. Let's do this. I'm on my own here with the controls. So in this image, we see there are a couple of things that are characteristic that really makes this image pop. You see, let's see, where's my cursor? It's right over here. You see the halo in the background. That's one important element, so we're going to need one light for that. There's some light on the shoulders here and also hitting the hair. So that's another light that we need to recreate. And then also there's a main light coming down in the face and on the hands. So that's a third light. And then I've added a fourth light if we want to, if we want to change the contrast here on the side, then we can do that. So why don't we start breaking down and trying to figure out how did Lindsay Adler do this fantastic image. And let's see, going to switch over to my Capture One. So what do we have? What are we playing with? Well, first of all, we have Alfred here. Alfred is one of the ProPhoto employees. I just go in and snatch someone from the office, and of course someone that looks good like Alfred and not myself. So that's a good thing, and he's been very patient with me as we've been playing around with this. Other than that, I'm using a Canon R5 with an Air Remote TTL for Canon. The settings I have is ISO 100, shutter speed 200th of a second, and f9. And f9 is mainly because I'm trying to shut off get rid of all this ambient light that we have in here. So if I would take an image now, let's see, let me turn off the remote, and if we take just a plain image without any remotes, the Capture One should show a black frame. That's it, just a black frame. I got some grids here, we don't need those. Take the grids away. So we just have a black frame. That means I have nothing but the light that I add in order to play. So, in order to create that little fancy halo in the background, there are different ways we can do that. We can do that with a, with a grid, with a zoom reflector, with a snoot, and so forth. So I tried all that, and this is also what I encourage people to do. Not to copy an image and claim it as, oh, this is my image now, and I've done something, because you are clearly stealing someone else's creative idea. Like in this case, I'm stealing Lindsay Adler's creative vision for this Hollywood shot. So I would not claim that creatively this will be my image. We are doing an homage to Lindsay and just learning by recreating what she's done. And it's really a great way to do. And you can either do it just by looking at images and try to recreate those. If you feel that it's hard to do, I strongly recommend you to go over to lindsayadlerphotography.com and look at that, because she has tons of material where she breaks down all the things that she's doing. And by doing those things, you learn a lot about how to create those things. And next time, I mean, you get a lot of creative tools that you can put together in a really interesting way. But so we have a Pro 11 over there. Do I need a Pro 11? Nah, but I use it because I have it. And to be honest, the power level that I'm on, I could have gone with B10s on the two heads that I have. They are under 250 watt-seconds, so I really don't need a Pro 11, but I use it just because I got one, so why not? So starting in the back, I have one Pro head back there. I even have a snoot cam. So here we go. So you see the head. It's on an Avenger stand with a grip arm, and in order to get it low and get the right kind of bow on it. And as you can see, I have a little bit of diffusion on top of it, and I will actually flick that down. And then you might ask why? Well, so if I take an image now, I'm going to turn on the remote. Oh, and a good tip for you guys that use these air remotes and turn them on and they turn off automatically after a certain amount of time, go in sleep mode. If you hold the plus button, plus energy, let's see. When you turn it off, if I hold the plus button and turn it on, you heard a little beep beep. That's disabling basically the sleep mode. So now it will stay on as long as I want. And then we have the test button, and it should be only the back one firing. So let's take a shot of the halo and switch over to my Capture One. As you can see, this is now the halo with the snoot. It has a very sharp edge, like a spotlight. And there's a little bit of pattern inside of it as well. So it doesn't really look good in my eyes, and it does not look like the image that Lindsay has. So if I switch over to my snoot cam, I'll show you what I do. I have taped just a little bit of diffusion paper that I flip over like that. And then we take another image to see how it looks like. And then we look at Capture One. You can see now the difference. So this is with diffusion, without diffusion. So that's the difference that the little bit of diffusion does in front of the snoot. So now it looks more similar to what we actually have in Lindsay's image. But it's empty, so we need to get someone in front of there, I guess. So Alfred, why don't you take your position? So we have, there we go, looking almost as sharp as the guy in. It's enough. So let's take an image with Alfred and the halo in the back. And we should see a silhouette with a halo. So we have step one done, which was basically done with a Pro head a zoom reflector and a snoot on it and diffusion on top of it in order to get the softness of the, or like a gradient on the edge. Now we need something for the shoulders and the hair light. And for that I have a B10 over there. Let's see, it's difficult to point. There we go, and it has a standard, or it has an OCF zoom reflector. So I'm going to walk back and turn it on. I turned everything on, I don't know why. I should have left it on and just used the remote. I guess I need to work and walk. So here I try to put it at an angle of incident with the camera, trying to see how high I should put it to make sure that it hits the shoulder and creates a reflection. If I put it too high, it's just going to make this brighter, but you need to have a certain an angle of incident in order for it to create a kicker light, as we say, or a rim light reflection. So let's try that one. Let's see, maybe we turn off, I turn off the halo in the back. And now we only have the shoulder light, the kicker light. And we go back to capture one. And it looks like this. And I'd say that, yeah, that's pretty perfect. That's good enough. Maybe, no, I think that's good. That's good. Now we can combine that one, or we, let's see. We need a main light. We need the regular standard light. So let's see. Let's turn off the kicker light and turn on our, where's the main light? It's this one. Or no, this one. Now I should have, let's see if I have, yeah. So now we have only the main light. That's going to put some light in the face and hopefully on the hands. So let's switch over to this one. So now we have light on the hands and in the face. I feel personally, this is my personal opinion, that maybe the side is a little bit too dark. So for that I have CF210, and I'm just putting that on fairly low, probably around 3, power level 3, and I'm about maybe 2 foot away, just outside of frame on this one. So let's take an image and see how that works for us. Turn off that one, and hopefully you should now see just a faint, it's almost not visible in this image, but there's a little bit of a kiss of light on the side of his face. But now I think we have all the ingredients, right? So we have the halo, we have the kicker light, we have the main light, we have a little bit of fill. So why don't we add everything together? We add them all up. And let's see if we can get some life in that one as well. Yeah, I think now all of them should, hopefully. I haven't done anything wrong. So let's now put all the different elements together. And now, Alfred, now you need to look the best you can. Be mystical. Bam. So, here's the final result. So now we added all those different elements in the image. Let's see if we can do a picture in picture. Yeah, that's me up there. So now you see we have the shoulder light, we have the hair light, we have the halo in the background, light on his face. I brighten up the side here a little bit just to lower the contrast. I could turn that off just to give you a so we have a comparison image. Let's take another shot. Okay, Alfred, you ready? Yeah. Okay, 3, 2, 1. So here we have now the image with fill light on the side and without. So there's a little bit of difference on his left cheek, as you can see. And then, so this is your creative decision on how you would like to do it. But that's basically how you can play around with different lights. Now, of course, we're using a lot of lights. We have 4 light sources, but that's sometimes what you need. You could easily do this with 3, but it would be hard to do with less than 3, I guess. And play around. Learn from great photographers like Lindsay Adler. Try to mimic the things that they're doing. And then you have creative tools that you can use for your own creative visions. For example, how to create halos. Now you can create different types of halos. In kicker lights, you can place the kicker lights at different parts of the body. And also with the main light, you can play around with using different angles, getting maybe butterflies or short light or Rembrandt lighting and so forth. You can do a lot of creative things with this. And then fill light, yeah, that's just fill light, if you want it or not. So that's one way of kind of breaking down and looking and learning from great photographers like Martin Schöller or Lindsay Adler, etc. And play around. I mean, you're not going to break anything, and it's a great way to learn and push yourself in your creativity in creating more images. So let's see if we have any questions in the chat. Mumbai said, nice setup. Thank you, Mumbai. Hopefully it was not all of Mumbai. Let's see, we got some questions. Oh, yeah, so there we go. Yeah, you can see the links Melanie has posted where you can get the recipe guide for not only this one image, but like 19 more. I think it's even more than 20 in total, on all different kinds of Hollywood glamour type of looks. I strongly recommend you to go there and download it. And, oh, I forgot. Lindsay has been even so kind that she has given us a special promo code for this Hollywood guide, the one with the over 20 setups. If you type in the promo code ProPhotoHollywood, you get some a couple of bucks off as discount. So that's really, really nice of her. And then I recommend you go also to this Learn Plus platform. I mean, if you just go on the website, you see how much you get. And for all of you that are struggling with Flash and you're trying to learn, I recommend you strongly to learn from competent photographers like Lindsay Adler. Don't go on YouTube and look at tutorials and think that that's correct. Go to a trustworthy source. You have, of course, ProPhoto Academy on ProPhoto's website. You have Lindsay Adler's whole platform. These are content that speak the truth. Lindsay understands how light works, and what she says is the truth. If you go to YouTube, you can see some funky stuff. Like I saw one YouTube clip with a photographer who said that the light from the sun, the photons, they travel so long that they become soft. So the light from the sun is soft light, and it's like the hardest light we can have. So YouTube is fun, but that's it. It's not for learning. So go to Lindsay instead. Can someone write the cam settings? Oh, we had Raphael there. Again, F9 in aperture, and that's just to close off. Well, so mainly I wanted to have a little bit of playroom when it comes to sharpness. I want to have his ear, the shoulders, and so forth. So I go with I open up my aperture, or close it down a little bit to F9, and then shutter speed is 1/200th of a second, which means that I get rid of all this ugly ambient lights in the room, because it's really like tungsten. And then ISO 100, nothing special with that. So those were the camera settings. There we go. No other questions here. Do we have any questions on the Yeah, so we had a question about, can we try doing this look with less lights? Well, I'd say it's all about what elements do you want to take away. We took away the fill light on the last image, so that's now we're down to 3 lights. And let's see, let's go back to capture 1. So here we have all elements, right? So we except the fill lights. So this is without fill lights. This is 3 lights: the shoulder light and the hair light, main light, and the background. And so which element would you take off? I'd say don't take off the background, because that actually gives him this glow. I really like that one. And we could test to take the image with the without the kicker. Let's do that. So why don't we do that? Kicker, head off. And now we should only have background and main light. Okay, so let's take this image and see. So now we're down to 2 lights. What do we get? So this is now only 2 lights. It's the main light and the halo in the background. And to be honest, Lindsay's touch with the kicker. I mean, I'm a big fan of kickers and the shoulder and the hair light. You can see his hair kind of blends in with the background. There's not that much separation from him. So I would say that, yeah, no, probably not. You need at least 3 lights in order to create this image. So go with 3 lights. You can of course replace. Most of these lights are so low. I'm in a studio in a controlled environment, so most of them are so low. You could have use A10s, you can use B10s, etc. So you could have, I'm thinking 1, 2, you could have 2 A10s and 1 B10. That's the minimum, I would say. So two speed light type of lights for the kicker and for the main light, and then the background I would use the B10 with a snoot and some diffusion. So that's it for today's Geared Up. Thank you so much for being patient and asking a lot of great questions. And let's see if we have any further questions. Don't see anything there in the YouTubes and the Faceagrams. Okay, here we go. Use a reflector instead of a softbox. Oh, so as a fill light, I would not recommend the use of a reflector instead of a softbox, because as the fill light I want to be as big as possible, because I don't want it to be creating new shadows, right? So if I use a reflector, it's a small light source means hard light, sharp shadow edges, and then I might get another shadow going in the other direction, and it would look strange. So if I use a big light source, and 2x3 is big when you're really close, get any new shadow edges in the face. So that's the reason why I'm using a soft. I could take this off and use a reflector and shoot it in the other direction and use the wall on this side as a new light source for the fill light. That could work, but then I'm using then I'm lowering the contrast in the whole image. I mean, the background and everything gets impacted by that. But with the softbox, I can control the light, what area where I want the fill light. So I think we have answered all the questions. So with that, from me, and of course my beautiful Alfred, thank you so much for helping out. I'll say thank you from us, and see you all next week. And then Chris will be back with some new, well, I don't know what he's going to talk about actually next week, but it's going to be something fun, I'm sure. So see you all next week. Bye-bye.